afternoon and welcome to Design Week Philippines 2020, hyper collaboration for a better normal. Good afternoon, everyone. I am your host, Kaki Teodoro. I will be your moderator for this entire afternoon. So, how's everyone doing this fine Tuesday? I know the weather is very relaxing. It's the perfect, enriching environment to learn from today. So make sure you grab a coffee. And well, for some parts of the country, some parts of the Philippines today, the weather might be strong. So if ever something happens to your internet or even my internet or the internet of our speakers today, I just want to remind you guys to hang in there because we will be here. We are not going away. So just stick around and we will be back for you because I am so excited for this afternoon, and not just this afternoon, actually, this entire week, because we've got master classes, we have activities, we have workshops, and much more for Design Week PH. And I am truly very grateful to be part of it all. Now, to set our Design Week PH experience in motion, let's first hear from the Department of Trade and Industry Undersecretary Abdul Ghani Makatoman for his opening message.
A very good afternoon to everyone. I welcome all of you to Design Week Philippines. Today really is a good day to celebrate how far we have come and how much we can achieve with our rich creative and design resources. The Design Center of the Philippines, an agency of the Department of Trade and Industry, is here once again to push Philippine design and creativity forward with the Design Week Philippines. Design Week Philippines is a yearly event that highlights different facets of creativity, imagination, art, and design. It's coming together of local creative communities and minds that recognizes the influence and potential of captivating design and magnetic creativity. This year's theme, Hyper Collaboration for a Better Normal, is perfect and timely, most especially during this time of limited movement and physical distance. Hyper Collaboration is about building thriving ecosystems by not working in silos, much like a well-oiled machine with cylinders and gears that depend on each other for movement. Hyper collaboration encourages connections between individuals, communities, and hubs to create a vibrant ecosystem that both nurtures, fosters healthy cooperation and collaboration to grow. How do we do this? Amid the quarantine and pandemic, the digital space with its vastness is both a challenge and a great opportunity that is yet to be fully harnessed. Right now, we can already see how it can change the way we live our daily lives, and the quarantine underlined it further when it was imperative for all of us to quickly shift to online. The internet definitely is a great enabler for us all. So why not use the space as a jump-off point for innovators and change makers to actively collaborate? Other than this event being a celebration, Design Week Philippines is also a way for us to challenge the status quo, to challenge that we've come to know as the new normal, and maybe think forward and envision what can be improved and made better. This year's design talks with the theme Holding Up Half the Sky is an exciting one, stirred by an all-woman lineup. And this year's set of talks recognizes the soft power, empathy, and decisiveness that is so often observed in women leaders of today. Aside from an inspiring all-woman cast for design talks, I also like to invite everyone to take inspiration from and try new ways of approaching creativity through the master classes that are also included in the Design Week PH lineup. From improvisation illustration to user experience design. And these master classes will hopefully tell you that inspiration is just right around the corner. You just must maintain an open and creative mind. We all know that Design Week Philippines is not just a week-long event. It is transcendent, even more so now that the whole celebration will held online with the main events that will take place in the week of 19 to 25 October 2020. Partner events will also be simultaneously happening throughout October and November. And everyone is invited to join in the events and activities right at their own home. Creativity and design knows no limits. We may be far apart physically, but through events like this, I hope we realize that we can still collaborate and connect in our pursuit of greater purpose and a better normal. I wish everyone a successful and productive Design Week. Thank you and mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Maraming salamat po, Yusek. You know what? You are right. Today is a wonderful day to celebrate. Despite the distance, despite the current limitations, so crossing my fingers for everyone's internet today, we are able to keep afloat and even strengthen our culture of pakikipagkapwa and pagmamalasakit to one another. Empathy truly is key. But more on that later, folks. Well, looks like we are off to a good start. So before I get into our design talks, allow me to thank our incredible partners who made this first ever Virtual Design Week Philippines possible. Thank you to the Department of Trade and Industry, our collaborators, Pineapple Lab and Fringe Manila, our media partner, Adobo Magazine, and our event partners, Cebu Design Week, Manila Fame, UXPH, NASA Space Apps Philippines, Buensalido Architects, and a half, British Council, Life After Breakfast PH, and Crazy About Paper. Again, thank you everyone. So let's get to it, shall we? So this year's installment of Design Talks is quite different. Aside from it being completely online, it is tiered by an all-woman lineup. Yes, entitled Holding Up Half the Sky. We will be joined this afternoon by 5 amazing ladies who will be speaking about it and how it's like to be a woman leader of today. So hashtag let women lead, right? So let's welcome our first boss lady to the stage, Aya, or Haraya Aya del Rosario Gust. She is a prime mover of creative process outsourcing in the Philippines. She recognizes the rich and abundant creative resources that the Philippines has and makes it her mission to let the world know about our talents by connecting local creatives to international clients. So, welcome to the virtual stage, Aya.
Hi, Kaki. Good afternoon to you and to everyone, wherever you are, all creatives. I'm so happy to be here with my tribe.
Hi, hello, Aya. I am so pleased and honestly a bit starstruck to meet you because you truly are amazing. It is wonderful to be in your presence this afternoon. And I know the Philippines, many people say that the Philippines, it's such a creative pool, diba? People always say that Filipinos are so creative. I come from a performer background, so I'm a musical theater actor. And then when I meet people from the international stage, they always say na the Philippines is such a gold mine of talent. Do you believe this to be true talaga?
So true. When we started our business 10 years ago, the Philippines just overtook India to become the biggest call center, like in terms of voice services, right? But I was thinking at that time, even Filipinos are not able to speak as fluent English as the rest in call centers. We're all very creative. So there must be more to us that the world needs to see. So that's how Sweet Arrow was born.
I am so amazed, and I can't wait to watch and listen to your presentation this afternoon. And so, before I leave you, though, I would like to remind our dear audience to feel free to comment your questions, write them here. We are on Facebook. We are live. If you're watching from Facebook, or you can also write your questions, anything that you want to say on our chat box if you're watching via Eventbrite, so we can discuss them later on during our Q&A. And also, should something happen with your internet, with our internet, just stick around and we will be here, and we're going to make sure that this afternoon will be great for everyone. So take it away, Aya, and see you later.
Thanks, Kaki. Great. All right, my job this afternoon is to share with you our biggest learnings from our experience of the pandemic. And to frame that, I want to start with a video to share with you our story, like how we got here. So at the end of that 10 years, we came into 2020 with a big vision 2020, and we're so excited. And then the pandemic. I was actually in London. I just started a 2-week business development roadshow at the beginning of the year. And it was my first day in London. I just finished one meeting out of maybe 3 dozen meetings that were scheduled to happen over the next 2 weeks. From the UK, I was going to go to the US, from the East Coast to the West Coast, talking to prospective clients and existing clients. It was our big roadshow. I just got out of my first meeting, and got into a cab. And then I heard that the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic. I went back to the hotel. I was I was stressed. I was online checking the news, calling my husband. My husband was in the US already. We were supposed to meet up and he was supposed to help me with the meetings there. And then we just decided we needed to go home. Our team needed us to be home and we wanted to be home for, whatever might happen. So we cut this business development roadshow and on the plane coming home to Manila, I was researching and I realized we were about to face something we've never faced before. One of the things that I shared with the team is this graph. You've probably seen this. It's just the story of two companies. One that acted quickly, made the tough decisions quickly and was able to survive, and one that was a little slower when they made the changes, and at the end of the day, they didn't make it. So we need to make those tough decisions. Um, in the beginning of the pandemic, we were here in the light green line. We were aggressively growing. We were investing in our growth. We came from really good end of year joint planning sessions with our clients in Australia, the US, the UK. We hired maybe 20 to 30 people. We were anticipating the ramp that was going to happen in the beginning of the year. I was traveling, some other leaders were traveling. And then overnight, we had to scale back and we had to make tough decisions quickly, deliver only critical services. We didn't know how long it was going to take. All we knew was that, this has never happened before. Nothing like this has happened before. So, where did we start making sense of this uncertainty? Straight Arrow until yesterday has been primarily led by women. And actually, our management committee has been all women for the past 2 years, until the past few days when another member of the leadership team joined us. So we realized that, when everything is just uncertain and changing, we need to ground ourselves in something that is a little more stable. And that is our core values, who we are. The world can be changing, right? But we are who we are. So we look to our core values. And when we did all of the research to see how to strategize to respond to this pandemic, we let our core values guide us. So what you see here is the summary of our roadmap of our priorities during the pandemic. You'll see some of them have check marks already. This is because I update this, I share this with the team every other week. We have meetings in the management committee. We have weekly meetings. There was a time where we were having daily meetings. But if you look on top, it was all guided by our core values. So where are we today? This is a graph of our business, of our revenues. You will see that in the beginning, January and February, in our business, this is normal. The year starts slowly, and then it starts to grow, and then it just becomes busier and busier, drops a little bit in the middle of the year, and then picks up again. But you will see here, March, we were starting to grow already, and then a steep decline until May. We made the tough decisions, and then the business started picking up. We were able to find some new opportunities. I'll share with you how later on. And then in September, just last month, we found ourselves already at pre-pandemic levels. And our forecasts show that we will end the year at a significantly higher size, or with significantly better business than the year started. So we're back on our growth track. So what did we learn from all this? The first learning is that it paid, like the source of our strategy for adapting when times are really changing and when things are just crazy, is really to look into who we are, to start from who we are, from our core values. Straight Arrow, because maybe we're mostly women in the management committee, we are more reflective in our approach. So our strategy was all dictated by who we are. We're a team of great people. What does that mean? We need to work together as a team to survive this crisis. It's not all everyone to himself. We need each other during this time. Do the right thing. What does that mean? We need to do what we need to do for the greater good of Straight Arrow. And at that time, it is to keep our people safe. Almost 90% of our business is for clients who require us to work from the office, from our service delivery center, with information security and all of that. And we just felt like, we can't expose our people to that risk. So in 2 days, we sent all of our equipment home, max going home to where the team members were. We risked losing business with our clients. Before we got approval, we had to send people home because it's not worth the business if your people get sick. So we felt that was the right thing, and our clients supported us. We innovate to create value. Throughout the pandemic, we were innovating to see how can we make things better. And we were passionate about who we are. The whole time we were thinking about how we could take care of each other, take care of our clients, take care of our communities and our families. From there, we focused on our purpose. Why are we here? We're here to create for the world, to become the creative muscle of our clients all over the world. And this became our guiding strategy. It wasn't technical at all, right? Our one sentence that was guiding us as we adapted during the pandemic was this sentence: how can we help? Right? So there was a time our team members would reach out to clients in the morning saying, okay, I'm logging in. This is my work program for the day, but it's not normal times. Is there anything else I can do to help you? Or at the end of the day, I'm logging off, but I'm just working from home. If there's anything you need from me, let me know. I'm here to help. How can we help? That's the basis of our strategy. I love this quote from Mahatma Gandhi: the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. This is a photo of our leadership team. I just came from that's me, our annual planning sessions yesterday. You will see we're predominantly women. Our ITs here, HRs here, from all over, working together to plan for the next quarter, to focus and to come up with a plan next year. I feel so blessed and inspired that there are a lot of women leaders in our company. But men, women, we're all people. We all have talents to bring to the table. I think what's more important is that we're able to work together as a team, hyper collaborate. And I think hyper collaboration just really means empathizing and really understanding each other and seeing how we can add value. So I just want to end my presentation with a message, and to encourage you to just keep on creating for the world. We have the power in the creative community to visualize what's possible. When people are losing hope and people are confused, we can help people focus. Let's just go to the root of who we are and then be guided by that. I love what Peter Drucker said, and I hope this resonates with you. The best way to predict the future is to create it. So let's create for a better world together. Back to you, Kaki.
Wow. I don't know about you guys, but I believe that truly resonated with everyone. Miss Aya, what a presentation. What an opener, right? I appreciated that you went straight into sharing everything honestly, and it was so raw. And I believe we all, it really, I could relate to it so much as well when you were saying you had to make the tough decisions right away, and that I'm sure a lot of us were kind of hit. I literally had a reaction over here that I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. That happened in my company as well, and I'm sure that really resonated with everyone. But what I appreciated more about that talk was you said you innovated to create value. and you being able to stay with the core values of your company, and that really drove you forward. And I'm really glad that as you mentioned, your numbers now is, if it's correct to call it numbers, you're back in an even better state now, and you really found your groove back for your business. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
I'm sure we can all learn more from Miss Aya, and feel free if you have any questions
Yeah.
for everyone who is tuned in right now. Feel free to put those questions in on our chat box, on our comment section, and we will be sure to answer that later on. At the end of all of our talks, we're going to be having a Q&A with all of these fantastic women. So how amazing is this, that we're able to really interact and hyper collaborate with each other. Okay, so
Right.
let me know as well if you guys can hear me on your end, if something is happening again on the tech side, on the internet connectivity, all of those issues. We are going to address that quickly, and we're going to make sure that we're going to also cross our fingers for everyone's internet. So thank you very much. We're going to catch up with you later, Miss
Thanks,
Aya.
Kathy. I will see you later.
Thank you. So once again, we're gonna catch up with Miss Aya again later on, because we have four more boss ladies who will be speaking this afternoon. And so for those of you who also want to share this talk, and feel free, it's live right now, but of course at the end of it, feel free to share this with your friends. If you have anyone who is going to benefit from this talk as well. If you want to share it online, please use the hashtag. Our official hashtag is Design Week PH for all of your posts today. Now, we're just getting warmed up, everyone, because our next speaker is brand expert Eileen Borromeo. Miss Eileen has launched more than a dozen brands in her 15 years as a planner, marketer, strategist, and manager in the creative and communications industry, both locally and internationally. So let's all welcome Eileen.
Okay. Hi, Kaki.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me this afternoon.
Hi, Miss Eileen. It's so wonderful to meet you via this platform, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers are excited to learn from you, because ayan na, launch. Launch is like a magic word, because as you know, this pandemic has launched a lot of small businesses, home businesses, and so I'm sure they would love to learn more from you. However, before we proceed with our talk and your presentation, I just want to remind everyone, if something happens with the internet, with the speakers, or my internet, or your internet, just stick around, just relax, take a sip of water. We are going to stay here. We're going to stay here for you, and this talk will continue to happen. So you can just relax, and we're going to cross our fingers for the best internet for this 2 hours. Okay. So now, Miss Eileen, 15 years in the business, and I'm sure was there ever an experience that could be as crazy, perhaps, or as close to what we're experiencing right now, this pandemic? I don't think
Yeah.
there's ever something like that, right?
No, so unless we were born during the Great Depression, I don't think, anything comes close. So, unprecedented what we are experiencing, and I salute the resilience of our SMEs as well. It's been a struggle of a year, and, we're also not exempt for this. And it's inspiring to also hear from Aya. So hopefully, I can follow suit with my presentation. But I guess to give a hint of what I'm sharing this afternoon, I've always felt that mothers are experts in hyper collaboration, and that's where I'm drawing my inspiration for this presentation.
Oh, wonderful. I'm sure mommies, hold on because this is going to be a truly inspiring talk. And so remember, if you have any comments, questions, make sure that you drop them and write them on our chat box. And we're going to be pulling them up later for discussion in our Q&A. So the stage is yours, Miss Eileen.
Thank you. So let me start. Okay. So thank you again for having me. Today, I will be talking about how motherhood made me better at my job. As I mentioned earlier, when I was approached to talk about hyper collaboration, I took a step back and look at something that I've been experiencing for the past almost 5 years. So, a little bit about me. Kaki has given a very good introduction, but aside from being a marketer, so I am head of marketing for Southeast Asia and Pakistan for Payoneer, a cross-border payments platform. At the same time, I am the co-founder of Podcast Network Asia and its CMO. And I'm also the producer of Going Beyond. So it's Payoneer's podcast that will be launching this October. And I am mom to a 4-year-old human and pet parent to a zoo. So a lot of people would always ask me, how do I do it all? And this is how. I think I haven't had a decent night's sleep since 2015. But this really starts from when this little girl was born almost 5 years ago. So next week is her birthday. She turns 5. And you've probably heard from many other parents that life will never be the same. But what I didn't realize was that by becoming a parent, I'd actually get more out of what I was doing at work. So it may be hard to believe, but you develop certain skills and, insights to actually get through your work. So I was on maternity until about 2016. So Rippy was born in October, and 2016 was just putting in the work. When 2017 and 2018 rolled by, we had major wins in the office. I was strategy director at McCann World Group at this time. We were the country's most awarded in Cannes, and we also reaped medals from Clio and the One Show. And shortly before I hit 40, I wanted to say 30. I decided to do something different. So, I felt that if I was going to pivot, maybe this would be a good time. You're not too old to be doing something different, but also not too young to be so inexperienced to try something new. So I left the industry ranked as the number one planner, and then I co-founded Podcast Network Asia. I also got invited as jury for WARC. So this is a prestigious organization to judge the Asia Strategy Prize in 2018 and again in 2019. And we also, so never in my wildest dream that we would get featured in Monocle magazine. So we were in the September issue. Podcast Network Asia was one of the featured media companies. And now we're also expanding regionally. So we grew from 76 shows from just a handful in less than a year. So there's a lot of things that has happened in this pandemic, but there's also a lot of things to be thankful for. And here are some of the lessons that I'd like to share with you. And hopefully you can take some value from it as well. So the first one is you can't win all battles. Okay. So very people knew that our house was actually on the cover of a magazine. This was what it used to look like back in 2014. I'm not showing an actual photo now, but it's a war zone. So you kind of get the picture. And that's okay because I think that we'll get back to a nice looking space once Ripley's done writing on the walls and there are less toys to pick up after. And it's the same thing at work. You don't need to win every argument. You just need to know, whether that thing will ultimately affect the outcomes you want. If it doesn't, let it go. So the next one is about it's never too late to go back on things on pause. We didn't travel internationally until Ripley was 11 months old, and I missed traveling immensely. There's also a lot of things that I've put off, but I was actually interested in podcasting as early as 7 years ago. I failed the first time around. Then I met my co founder serendipitously after he interviewed me for his show, and the rest was history. So, 7 years, who would have thought? And when you can't take no for an answer, try another way. So, afternoon naps are important for young children, or else they'll have a meltdown. I think every parent would know this by heart. But it was actually very difficult to get our daughter to nap. So, I played a game with her. So, parents, listen up. This is a hack that you can only use for a few times before they smart up to it. So, I said, whoever can keep their eyes closed for the longest wins. So I would start counting in a really low and sleepy voice. And by the time I counted to 60, she was knocked out. At work, I learned to use different creative ways to persuade because there's always another way to get what you want. So the other lesson, persistence gets you where you need to be. Um, so this is a story of carrots and again, a podcast. So Ripley hated carrots. I tried to feed her carrots cooked in all sorts of ways a few times each week. So it kind of wore her down, and it's now one of her favorite vegetables. It's kind of the same with work. The answer to something might not be yes at the moment, but perhaps the timing might be right for another. So like maybe getting the company to invest in a new touch point, and that's what I just did. Also presented in a new way, and I think the timing was just really good. And of course, last but not least, small wins matter as much as the big ones. We've always taught our daughter to pack away after she plays, but lately she's taken to helping out with chores at home. So, like preparing the dinner table. And I celebrate this as much as hearing that she's advanced in certain aspects from her teacher. And of course, the same goes for work. I think the pandemic has taught us so much, and I appreciate that people seem to generally practice more gratitude for the many things that we took for granted before the world turned topsy turvy. So, I think the small wins can give us more satisfaction at this point in time. So those are my five five lessons that motherhood taught me, and why I was able to be better at my job. So if you wish to get in touch, or would like to speak more, whether it's about marketing, podcasting, life after advertising, happy to chat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Miss Eileen. Wow, that was so many bursts of hope, and every lesson was like, that really hit the mark. Tama to. Especially the small wins. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that because every single day is a win since we're taking things day by day during this time. So thank you for that wonderful presentation. I am not a mother yet, and I'm sure everyone can learn from your experience as a mother and put it into their business and their lives. Thank you very much.
Thank thank you,
And so
Kathy.
right now, Miss Eileen, we're gonna be putting you backstage. Yes, there you go. For now, Miss Eileen will be backstage for a bit, and we will see her later on for our Q&A. So again, if you have any questions, just write them down on our Facebook and on the comment section, and we're gonna make sure to find those so that we can really answer them later on. And before I introduce our next boss lady for today, I would like to mention again our partners for this year's Design Week Philippines. Thank you again for making our first virtual celebration happen. The Department of Trade and Industry, our collaborators, Pineapple Lab and Fringe Manila, our media partner, Adobo Magazine, and our event partners, Cebu Design Week, Manila Fame, UXPH, NASA Space Apps Philippines, Buen Salido Architects, and the Half, British Council, Life After Breakfast PH, and Crazy About Paper. And so remember to use our official hashtag, that's hashtag Design Week PH, for all of your posts. So I'm sure you guys are ready for our next speaker. Well, this is something that you might have heard already because all throughout this pandemic, this really kept on growing and growing. And guess what? They are already the number one app in the Philippines today. So, our next speaker, she is the Vice President of Brand and Strategic Partnerships of Kumu. Kumu, the app, has redefined creative competition and built a community that brings the voices of Filipinos forward. Now, let us all welcome one of the people who's behind all this, Miss Michiko Soriano.
Hi.
Hi! Hi, Michiko!
Hi, Kaki. Good
So,
afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. I know it has been quite an amazing uh, day, I think. And I ask you, when did you guys find out that you guys were already the number one app?
So actually, that was yesterday.
Yesterday.
That we landed top one on iOS.
Oh,
Yeah. So it was like, wow. Slide in here on the updated. No kidding. Just to mention, but yes,
I
it's an
noticed.
honor
I
to be
noticed.
here. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Kumu. I mean, honestly, for so many reasons, and on the personal side, for many, many artists, Kumu has been a safe haven, really a safe space, and really an opportunity for artists to continue performing. A lot of close friends and people in the industry have moved to Kumu as its platform because, well, the theaters are closed. So they have Kumu really saved their days, you know. So thank you for that.
Well, actually, just a funny story about
Mm,
how our founders. So, I mean, we there are the Filipino founders who started this, who uprooted their lives, coming to live here from the US to yeah. So that was like 3 years
ah,
ago when they started Kumu,
mm,
and yeah, it's funny how we recall and say, who would have thought, we like a live streaming app in an internet connectivity challenged country, right?
oh yes, yes, yes.
So we like it's kind of crazy to think that, but thankfully with this year, right, with better access to
Mm,
internet, that's always the sweet spot for live streaming. It's the sweet spot of with cheapening of the smartphones and
mhm.
better internet connection. So somehow, yeah, we've become a home. Thankfully, gratefully for a lot of the artists this year, and
So
hopefully moving forward.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just about to join Kumu. I'm just really fixing connectivity issues because you mentioned sweet spot. So soon, Kumu, I will be joining. I'm excited to learn from you. So maybe this is indeed a sign because you are now here at the Design Week PH virtual stage. And so I'm excited for what you're going to be showing to us, what our viewers will be seeing from your presentation. And I'm sure you guys, if you have any questions, keep them coming, guys. We're going to attend to that later on. So I will be leaving you now, Michiko. See you again later.
Thank you, Kaki. Yes, thank you so much, Kaki. And again, a shout out to everyone who's been organizing this event on hyper collaboration in the Better Normal. What way to celebrate that? Well, we're actually now in October, right? Who would have thought? But thankfully, this is also off the ground, and also a pleasure to be amongst these ladies and sharing the stage with them. Lots to learn still. So I'm about to share my screen. And as what Kaki mentioned, please feel free to comment. I cannot hear you, but I'll give this as everything I've got, as if I can see you all and feel your energy. But yes, so let me share my screen in a bit. Hang on. Please bear with me. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, cool. So I actually wanted to also add to my answer about hyper collaboration. Hyper collaboration is, well, to my answer to that, yes, it's actually a lot like breaking down walls, right? It's also inclusivity. So as you can see here, our latest slogan for Kumu is Sama All. So yeah, so hyper collaboration also at its finest, we believe. Okay, do we see it? Is it okay? Okay, cool. So Kumu is a live streaming app. I'd like to also frame it as social TV. I think a lot more people get it when I say TV, and it's social, right? We know two words here. And just to get up close and personal, just a little bit of myself and how I ended up in Kumu. Well, Kumu, I've started becoming part of the team in 2018. So just when, from trying to be a Filipino viber, right, prioritizing the voices literally of the Filipinos, Kumu pivoted in sometime in August, just 3 months after launching, to a live streaming app. And so essentially what that would really mean, I have actually a live stream 101 in the next few slides. So please bear with me. But so yeah, I'm Michiko. And prior to starting Kumu, I was actually in the co-working space. So with WeCube in Legazpi Village, I co-founded it as a managing partner as well. And funny enough, actually, we really harp on achieving explosive growth together. And so with this co-working space, I started to get exposed to startups, at least the startup scene here in the Philippines. Prior to that, I was in BizDev in PhilJets. We launched the Grab Heli project together with Grab. So that also piqued my interest in, what does it mean to be in a tech company? So again, non-linear at all, right? As Steve Jobs says, we connect the dots looking backwards. And to me now, as I look back, it also makes a bit of sense. And yes, I had my stint at Fringe Manila. So prior to also becoming part of Kumu, I had my short time with the government being part of the PPP Center. I had that itch to, what is it? Like, how does it work? Like, how can I be part of this big thing that, something bigger than me? And as well, being part of the Maestranza for a short time, the project in Intramuros. And looking back even further, how, I helped organize school fairs, being backstage mainly. And all in all, now that I'm in Kumu, it makes sense that I'm really tickled or passionate about empowering others, and more so about empowering artists and creators like many of you. So with Fringe Manila, that was also a great pleasure. And here, now it's everyone there on the app, as you can see, just going live every day. So Kumu's mission is exactly this: empowering the next generation of Filipinos by giving them a platform to connect, play, and make a living in the most authentic way possible. Right. So Kumu, again, short for Kumusta. And we're proudly Filipino for Filipinos. We've recently celebrated these wins like top grossing. So as by top grossing, it's actually those in-app purchases, like basically, yes, supporting. It's like digital busking, right? When you're a fan of someone or you see someone on the street, here it's supporting that creator straight out. Top free app, just behind a $1 billion app like Facebook. And top trending now, number 1 in the Philippines. As you can see here, a tiny note of where else it's topped the charts, especially for top grossing: Philippines, UAE, Hong Kong. Really, you name it, anywhere the Filipinos are trying to connect back home and straight to the creator. And just for anyone else who might be still curious, this could be that opportunity for you, right? For 2 years now, and even more so during this time, there are financially successful creators on Kumu earning this much. Last month, the highest earning creator was at 1.75 million pesos, and the second highest was just 100,000 short after that. So yeah, go and have fun and go live. And something else, like just as a side note, and something that I'm very, very passionate about being here in Kumu, one of my also advocacies is also women empowerment. And it's essentially something that as a culture and as an app, we're proud to say that it's something we've kept clean, wholesome, and positive. So on Kumu, we've proven the live streaming world that you don't need to show any part of your body except for your dance moves to earn, right? It can be other different passion points. At the same time, well, just on the other side of the coin, highest spending viewer in September was someone who, supported all across the board creators, but spent 2.3 million pesos on Kumu, supporting the various creators. And what is it for? It's all these Kumu moments, as we say. So you can see people like, oh, thank you. And these are actually, people going live and thanking their supporters with these fun gifts with a peso denomination. And so, yeah, live streaming and Kumu. Again, as I mentioned, actually one of our values is authenticity. And so also as a live stream, right, as a format in itself, you can't fake yourself. So here we really encourage everyone to be themselves. So yeah, be yourself, engage with your viewers. And something that we've built because, it's like almost 0% latency. So you can even connect also in real time, given the internet connectivity. So what kind of live streams, right? So it's actually a lot more of where the different passion points come to meet and come alive. We've recently had a Nerd Expo, right? So different cosplayers going live, and that was community driven. Comics, art. We have Miss Heidelin Diaz going live, just engaging with her fans. So also for the sports enthusiasts, this is also possible. Actually, I tell my friends, just jump rope, you can earn. With our partnership with Mix Global, we had, international artists as well, like David Guetta, Frankie Yana. But yeah, this is more of, again, empowering the everyday creator. You might ask, so what kind of content would be interesting? So this is just a quick flyby of how to Kumu in a few steps. First, download the app. Second, click this go live button, Carlito. So Carlito is our Philippine mascot. Philippine tertiary, our mascot. And you can choose what format you can go live with, four of you or just as yourself. Or you can have all 9 squares, see here, as with your guests as well. So go live with a cover photo and you're good to go. But just a few tips is be passionate, right? Be passionate about your content. When I do get to live stream, I live stream about the Morena movement, and I interview women I admire, or actually not even just Morenas, but people whom I admire. And so, yeah, sustainability is key. Your viewers would want to see you consistently. So this is so that they also better follow you. Plan your work and work your plan. So similar to, say, your social media calendar, you'd also want to date it out, right? Okay, like for this week, say, okay, maybe, it's mental health month, right? Maybe have your content around that. Number 3, so like this, I actually invested in a mic, but you don't need to, right? You can have a simple, say, earphones, just or a proper setup. And if you have a phone, go live. So this is Apple Chu, one of our Kumu creators. I love her content. Actually, she started with Kumu Musical, so she sings while cooking. So something fun as well like that could be possible. For a few months now, we have Father Tito Kaluwag having and saying mass. So side by side, there's also favorite church and like a Catholic mass live at the same time on Kumu. And then here it's so fun because then they have it every 11 a.m. On Sundays as a chat, like reflecting on that. Okay, so just to speed things up here, to build a relationship with your audience, because real attracts real. They really feel it. If like, oh yeah, I can relate to this, I can resonate with you. Stop collaborate and listen. So here's what I mean by having 6 squares, just having producing content together. Be seen, promote your work. So this was when Delise Laurel had her birthday quarantine on Kumu. This is something for the creatives as well, for visual arts, right? You can also do this on the platform. And dream big. The only limit is your imagination. Just to wrap up, these are some of the hyper collaboration that has happened. We had Miss Universe. We had Ces Gelon owning up to the name. Stress Gelon meets Hagardo Versosa. I'll just speed things up here. But just lastly, helping out local brands as well with the e-commerce platform. You can check it out, or you can check out within Kumu. And last but not least, we also have collaborated with ABS-CBN, where now auditions are happening on Kumu. So that's just to wrap up. Again, I'm Michiko. Please do Kumunek na, michiko@kumu.ph.
Amazing. Amazing, Michiko. Thank you very much. I am so inspired. I don't know about you guys. I'm sure a lot of our viewers were like, oh, I got to get a Kumu app right now. I have to join. And I wanted to touch on something that you mentioned earlier, because I believe that to be absolutely true. I was just talking to a friend last night, and he's like the one who's like, I can't wait for you to get to Kumu already.
I can't wait also, Kathy.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be a crazy time. But you mentioned something about not only does it connect, but it's like you push the positivity with everyone. And the thing is, my friend mentioned, there's no bashing on Kumu. It's really all out support, not just with the gifts that people can give, but really just with their messages, with the chat that happens live. And at the time right now, it's really what people need to be able to connect and to support each other. So
Thank
yes.
you. Yeah, you do you. We actually aim to be the Disneyland of social media. So positive vibes.
And so we're going to be catching up with Michiko once again later on. If you have any questions, we're going to get to that after all of our talks. We have a Q&A at the end of all of the talks of our amazing ladies. And so Michiko will be joining the first two ladies later on in our Q&A. Keep those questions coming. So see you later, Michiko.
Thank you.
We hope you guys are enjoying the talks this afternoon as much as I am. I am really feeling the inspiration and also the empowerment. As a woman myself, the work of these ladies are really impeccable, and we've got more to come. So our next speaker is Miss Roma Agsunod. This lady took a leap and pursued her passion. I'm sure all of you guys can learn and can relate with this talk. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. She is the co-founder of Common Room PH, a collaborative shop housing more than 200 locally made products. So really, she has been collaborating since before pa. Hyper collaboration talaga at its finest. She also owns Pop Junk Love, her passion project crafts business. So let us all welcome Roma. Hi, Roma.
Hi! Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be part of this all-women lineup. Thank you so much for having me, Design Center of the Philippines, for this year's Design Week.
We are thrilled to have you with us, and really so happy to have you here in Design Week PH, because I personally have been following you, Pop Junk Love, Common Room, and I would go because I'm a QC girl myself. So I would make sure to pass by your shop and then get a salad kasi magkatabi lang. All of the trinkets, mga pangregalo ko for my friends, I would get it from your shop, because not only are they locally made, the quirkiness and the creativity of the things that you have there in your shop in in common room, sorry, it's very Pinoy. You have, I remember seeing Batibot and seeing Jaja Zaturna and the dolls. Oh, I am just amazed, full of good memories talaga. And I'm sure
Thank you so much.
I'm sure you will be sharing how the experience was for the pandemic, because I know Common Room was such a safe haven for so many artists, and now we're moving the space, or it has moved virtually. Is that correct?
Yes, Kaki, actually, we closed Katipunan so we can keep the business afloat. And to pivot, we really needed to move the space somewhere where we can actually do those digital efforts for the community. So while it was really somehow a sad goodbye because it was our first home for Common Room, for us it was also a very hopeful beginning for our new chapter.
Absolutely. And we are here to support you wherever you are. So, again, thank you, Rama, for being here. And I will see you after your talk. So, take it away.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kaki, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you for our lady bosses earlier. Oh my gosh, how can I follow that? Again, for those who don't know me, I'm Roma Agsunod, and I'm the co-founder of Common Room PH with my sister Maan Agsalud. And Common Room PH is a shared collaborative retail space of more than 100 local artists and makers. So to give you a short preview of what I'm going to talk about today, I want to focus on, for me, based on my experience, one of the critical ingredients of becoming an effective leader in the better normal. I think it's really important to discuss this because I know a lot of you are probably starting your own businesses or are actually have your own businesses already and are already struggling sa mga binabatong challenges ng 2020 ngayon, no? So, I think it's really important to know, for me, what worked and how I led my community into pivoting into the better normal. So, next, a little backgrounder about me. I am not a graduate of business administration. So, talagang ang pagiging entrepreneur ko at leader ay DIY po siya. So, I had to learn along the way. And my only exposure to business at the time was my parents' exporting business. But ayaw po nila kaming mag-business dahil alam po nila kung gaano kahirap ang buhay at the time. So ayaw po nila, to the point that they actually filled up my college application form dahil gusto nila akong maging lawyer. So sila nag-fill up at I ended up becoming a political scientist. So yun guys, ang aking background. Wala po talaga akong alam sa business. So when I finally decided that it's something that I really want to do, hindi po talaga nila ako mapigilan. I really had to soak up different resources on how to become an entrepreneur, how to become a better leader to my community, to my employees, to my team. So, kailangan yan. And, ang dami ko talagang nababasa na you should be this, you should be like this, you should be like this. To the point na meron pa nga akong nabasa na bawal kang maging mabait. Kasi kung masyado kang mabait, hindi ka magiging effective na boss sa isang company. Kasi if you wanna cut people, you wanna lay off people, you should have the courage to do those things because it's necessary. So yung parang yung lahat ng definition nila of becoming a great leader ay hindi po ako yun kasi ako po ang ultimate definition of fiercely feminine leader na ipapakita ko po sa inyo sa next video.
Sa Katipunan kasi, it's our first home eh. So, basically, it's not just a business decision. Meron kaming kailangan i-hurdle na emotional attachment to the space because it's our first home eh. This made other homes possible. This place made us... Ayoko mag-explain. Naiiyak ako. Anyway, hindi. Actually, I don't think it's head over heart. I think it's heart pa din. Kasi, ano ba yung point niya? The point of the business is to sustain the community. And if this space will be the reason that we won't be able to sustain the community, then I guess it's still hard kasi it's for the community, right?
Other people, yeah.
So,
Initial discussions, mostly kaming dalawa talaga. I think compared to my sister, medyo mas pragmatic ako. But siya yung mas may visibility sa numbers eh. And we knew na if this extended, hindi talaga namin masusustain all the shops. So we really had to cut down one or two so that the rest will survive.
Okay, so medyo may pag-iiyak na naganap doon, guys. So, I'll show you the next slide.
yung sa Katipunan kasi,
Okay. So, di ba, ang dami nating naririnig that when to be a great leader, you have to be strong for the community. You have to have a brave front. You have to be able to give that sense of security to your team, etc. But I want to tell you also that there is also an upside in case you are vulnerable and your team can see that vulnerability. For me, it can also mean being intimate, being relatable, being empathic. Why? Because, for example, guys, they know you as a strong person, right? And when you do something, despite everything that's happening around you, maybe your community members will say, she can do it because she is that kind of person. Hindi sila nakaka-relate eh. She is able to do all of those things because she is that kind of person. But if you show them your vulnerable side and you show them really what you're going through, then maybe they can relate and maybe that can actually make them move to action. Why? Because they see that you are also going through all of those things and yet you're still doing something. What makes me not do it also? But so in a way, yung weakness, yung seeming weakness mo and being vulnerable, it actually became a key to actually inspiring your members to move. So next slide, please. So eto, nagsasarado na kami sa Katipunan. Sa slide na to, makikita nyo. When we closed, since nakita natin yung nalaman ng partners namin yung nangyari and nakita nila yung vulnerability ng mga leaders ng common room at the time, I think nakatulong siya na naging hopeful pa rin sila despite of the closing. Kasi if kinaya namin to get through those emotions and still do something for the community, so what's stopping them from supporting all our efforts? So while our closing in Katipunan was somehow a sad note, it was very hopeful actually for all of us because we were really excited for our new beginning. Next. So personal. Guys, marami po tayong naririnig na, di ba, pag business, dapat it should be business, nothing personal, ganyan. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that there is also an upside to becoming personal, to becoming attached to your staff. Because when you're attached to your staff, they know that in the event that you need to trim down people, they know that it was your last resort. Yung hindi sila nagduda kahit konti na ginawa mo lahat. Kasi ganun eh. Alam nila na you're not the type of leader that will just cut down people. Hindi ka ganun ka ruthless na when you need to, I will remove you because I need to sustain the business. Thankfully, hindi pa naman umabot sa point na kailangan kong mag-cut down ng people. But one clear example of how loyal my staff is to me is we just realized na after 1 month that our staff was not getting their overtime pays. They're not getting it. We only knew after we computed the monthly store remittance. And then we asked them, why are you not getting your overtime pays? You're working, you should get it, especially now that you're working, you're our frontliners, you are exposing yourself to risks. And they told me that they wanted to voluntarily give up their overtime pays without us guys telling them to give up their overtime pays. So while it's true that sometimes you really need to have a barrier between your personal and your business, there is also an upside to becoming attached and really caring about your staff to the point na they would feel na if it's going to be this way, let's say I need to cut off people, I need to lessen, for example, some of their pays, etc., they know that it has been my last resort and I have done everything to help and support and assist them during these times. Next. Dependent, di ba? Meron talagang yung dependency na parang dapat you can do it all, ganyan. For me, I think it's important na we think of dependency as interdependence, na we can view it not as a weakness, but actually a strength. Because there is only so much we can do, right? And aminin nyo guys, hindi lahat yan strength natin. So if in being interdependent and relying on other people and collaborating with other people, their strengths become your strengths. So I think there's nothing wrong with becoming dependent on other people. So long as you know that you're aligned with your goals, then go ahead, collaborate, hyper collaborate, and be dependent to another person because you don't know how your world will expand because you can see now your business from a point of view of another person, not just your point of view. So the more people that you have, the greater the world expands for you and your team. Next. Those are my team. Ayan. So ngayon, puro talagang mga work from home, puro Zoom meetings ang nangyayari for my team. Now, meron na rin kaming content. So, ayan yung mga meetings namin. Next. So, emotional. Diba? Naririnig rin natin yung huwag ka masyadong parang kailangan you're very logical. Huwag kang magpapadala sa emotions, ganyan. Sa facts, sa numbers, totoo lahat yan, guys. But, let's always leave room for the unexplained. For me, naniniwala ako na, yes, there are numbers. Yes, meron tayong pagbabasihan for our every plan. Pero meron dun yung passion na kahit sobrang illogical na nang nangyayari, kumakapit pa rin. So, I think meron pa ring strength in feeling super strong about what you're doing, being so passionate about the mission of your brand that despite everything that's happening in 2020, we still hope and we still hold on to that vision na we can get through this, even if all of the proof around us is telling us na it's going to be a rough ride. Next. So there. So to end this, I want to show you a video that we shared to our community when the pandemic hit. Next, please. There. So for everyone who's going through a tough time, for me, it's really important to be authentic, to be real to your people, to tell them what's really going on, so that they can actually help you go through this tough time. Mahirap tayong nagpe-press release to the point that they really don't know how they can contribute and how we can do this hyper collaboration within our communities. Kaki?
Wow, okay. Roma, I can feel your heart and your passion. Nahuhulog na nga yung sleeves ko sa so much passion na naramdaman ko from you. And as an artist and an entrepreneur myself, naiintindihan ko lahat ng sinabi mo. And I don't know if you could see me. I was just nodding and nodding because the tears and the care that you have for your people, everything, that is so true. And there were so many tears this year probably, and I'm sure a lot of our diba, overflowing sometimes. And I know a lot of our viewers can also relate to that. Those who are really doing so much to save their business, to save their people, who are pivoting, who are doing so many moves to really move forward. So thank you most of all for your authenticity and your story. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kaki. Thank you.
And I'll see you in a bit. And so we are down to our last speaker, everyone. And I know you have a lot of comments. They keep on pouring in the questions. We're so excited to discuss them with all of you guys later on. And those for you who haven't put in their questions yet, don't be shy. We'll do our best to accommodate them all in our Q&A. Now, for our last speaker, she is part of one of the most widely used online and free editing platform that's great for both designers and non-designers. Non-designer over here. Literally, this is something that we all know by now because this has saved our lives. Now, Meisi Litawa is head of growth at Canva. Together with her company, she is making design accessible through their platform. Meisi, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, my name is Meisi Litawa and I'm the head of growth for Canva Philippines. Today, I'm going to share with you the Canva story, our mission of empowering the world to design anything, and what we're doing to cultivate creativity for a community of designers and non-designers alike. But first, I of course would like to thank the DTI Design Center for the opportunity to speak here and share these stories with you today. But before I tell you all about Canva, I'd first like to introduce myself and share with you my Canva journey so far. I joined Canva as the first content specialist in February of 2016, just over a year after they opened the Manila office. I worked with a team of copywriters who wrote descriptions for every single template in our library. Fun fact, at the time there were only about 5,000 English templates for 12 of the most common categories or things that people who use Canva regularly designed. These are birthday cards, business cards, posters, invitations, etc. Sometime after, I started working with the creative teams to scale the library to over 40,000 English templates across 100 categories of things people needed to create. Eventually, I also started working with other content teams that were responsible for the photos, elements, and stickers that our users added to their designs. Then, I worked with the marketing teams that promoted the product and content on various channels and platforms. Fast forward to today, I'm currently working with Canva's creative content and marketing teams and making Canva truly local for Filipinos. Check this out. Now we can move to the Canva story and how it all started. Not very many people know this, but Canva was first called Canva Chef, and it has come a long way in the last 7 years since it was launched. The story of Canva first started in 2007 when our CEO, Melanie Perkins, was a student at uni in Australia. As a student, she worked part-time teaching design programs to other students, and during that time, she realized that there was such a steep learning curve when it came to learning design, and that creating good design was complex and often very expensive. Before you can even start designing, you first had to purchase a design software, learn design, buy all the other bits and pieces you needed like stock photos, layouts, and fonts, prep and slice the image, get content through email, then you design, then upload and email some more, design some more if you had revisions, and finally prep it for print and publish. Mel thought design can be much more simple and integrated, and that was the future she started aiming for with Canva. Fast forward to 2013 when Mel and co-founders Cliff and Cam launched Canva's beta to the world. Since then, Canva's become the #1 design platform in the world with over 35 million users and counting globally. There have now been over 3 billion designs created in Canva, with 700 million from 2019 alone. That's 235 million unique designs per month, or 80 designs per second. But we've just started and we're only 1% of the way there. Canva was created to empower absolutely anyone to design anything. We're on a mission to democratize design around the world and believe everyone has creative potential. Everything we do is guided by this mission. We want to empower everyone to design anything, publish anywhere, on every device, in every language, with every ingredient. For this part of my presentation, I'll be talking about these ingredients and how we're helping cultivate creative potential through education and connection. Over the last 7 years, the product has evolved to solve real problems for our users and deliver the most value we possibly can. When I joined Canva, there were only about 5,000 English templates across 12 categories. Now we have tens of thousands of templates in different languages across 100 categories, because these are what people needed to create for their classes, their businesses, and their daily lives. In 2018, we learned that about 80% of our users use free photos and elements for their designs, but only a small part of our library is free. This led us to dramatically increase the availability of free content to give our users what they needed when they needed it the most. Be it for requests for new content and features, or even feedback on areas of improvement, user input is central to Canva's content creation and product development. Aside from the ingredients in our library, Canva also empowers by educating. Canva simplifies the design process and makes all of these design resources accessible, and complement that with learning resources to help develop design thinking and creativity. We also have tools like color palette generator or magic recommendation, or even font combinations to help our users. We also have learn articles on design, branding, and marketing to help further their learning on these topics. In the Philippines, we also run webinars for various local organizations, especially those that help empower MSMEs or educators on how to use Canva, build their brand identities, create learning materials and impactful content for social media. We do all of these because we believe that with the right platform and resources and a little bit of guidance, anyone can design anything. Canva empowers by connecting. And to do this, we have started a few online communities to connect our users with one another. For our Filipino users, we have Facebook groups for freelancers, for small businesses, and for Filipino educators to support them with resources that are valuable to them, and to connect them with similar individuals they can learn from. In these groups, we encourage people to share designs, exchange ideas, and offer advice on improving their work. We do so because we believe creating a supportive and collaborative environment where people can learn from each other inspires them to keep designing. And finally, for this last part, I'd like to talk about our community of Canva users and how they use Canva in their daily lives, especially now in these changing times. One of my favorite things ever is getting to see the Canva love from our community. They tell us all about how Canva's made their jobs and their lives a little bit easier with a simple post or presentation. People often tell us about how Canva saved their businesses a lot of money because of the free graphics and templates they find in our library. Members of our freelance community tell us how they were able to work more efficiently and deliver excellent marketing materials for many of their clients. Some of them even tell us how Canva saved them a lot of time for the presentations that they had to make for school and for work. And quite recently, we've also received some Canva love from users who are experiencing a new set of challenges with these changing times. This pandemic really changed the way we live our lives. The things that were once very easy to do are now made even more challenging. Since March, we've seen a 50% increase in design sharing as we challenge the notion of physical proximity for collaboration. 2020 has positioned us all in a new normal, and at Canva, we have been able to support and empower our community to adapt to the new world we're in. We've been able to support our community in launching or pivoting their businesses, celebrating personal milestones, and staying connected with those most important to them during this time. Canva was created with the intention of making design as easy as possible so that you can focus less on complicated designs and more on things that are important to you. The need for design is now more universal than ever. You have teachers and students having to create learning materials for their online classes. You have people who use the internet and various content platforms to exercise their creativity through videos. You have more people turning to freelancing and promoting their services online. And you have entrepreneurs who are taking their businesses online for the first time. Design literacy has become a critical and integral part of society. And we believe that design should be accessible to absolutely anyone. And that's it for my presentation. I hope you enjoyed these stories, and thank you again.
In fact, thank you, Canva. Really. Hi, Meisi.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I am just amazed and really pumped up because Canva has been like a miracle. That was like the magic element that we all needed. I know a lot of entrepreneurs also started with Canva, and in fact, I elevated na. Nag-Canva Pro ako. Kasi from having no visual design experience, because of Canva, I was also able to create presentations, logos, so many things for my brand, and I really felt so empowered that wow, I designed this. Thank you, Canva.
Yeah, and it's great to hear because it really is something. There is something in Canva for everybody, designers and non-designers alike. And I am not a designer, so I definitely I definitely learned a lot, picking up a few things, learning from templates. I love templates.
Oh,
As it's my
templates.
favorite thing ever. Not only do you get to like see what looks really really good, and have all of these different resources available for whatever purpose, you also have parang you pick up a few tips and tricks na, okay, this might be like a good font combination or like a really good color palette and things like that. And somehow you pick up like unknowingly or like parang unintentionally, you get to pick up a few things and you try to apply it in your next design, and before you know it, you're creating designs from scratch. And it's amazing to see how people have started from like, oh, I don't know where to start and things like
That's
that,
it. That's
and then
it.
have and then have them evolve into something that, hey, I actually did this with Canva and all of the different things that you can do. So on
Yes.
social media, it's very popular for people who create content and things like that. So yeah,
Yes.
it's really good.
And really, thank you. I'm so amazed and just really thankful that Canva is part of our lives and has been a very active part of our lives, helping us throughout this pandemic. And so, you know what? I'm just really excited to talk to you more and to talk to the rest of our powerful, empowering ladies. So I would like to bring them all in. So to all of our viewers, I'm sure you're so excited. Look at the screen right here. We have once again Miss Aya del Rosario Gas, Eileen Borromeo, Michiko Soriano Gang, Roma Agsunod, and of course, Meisi Litawa. Hi!
Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
Jen.
Amazing. Okay, so I know we have been flooded with questions, and a lot of our viewers, you can continue to put in your questions. We're gonna do our best to answer all of them, and I am just really amazed to share this virtual stage with all of these great women. And so let's get started with our questions. Okay, so we have one question. The first question, rather, is gonna come from or gonna before Miss Eileen. Okay, so Miss Eileen, we have this question from Alisa Marie Federio. She is asking, "Hi, ma'am. I'd like to ask if how do you balance your work life during this pandemic? Any tips or tricks?"
Okay. Thank you, Alyssa, for that question. And I also want to tell Macy I actually made my presentation using
I
Canva.
know. Yes, I noticed, and I wanted to ask you earlier. It's like, oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. So
Nakilig.
that's a commercial. So back to Alyssa. Thank you for the question. So I think for the pandemic, you can't expect to be working straight like 6 to 9 hours or more. You have to find what my friend coined pockets of productivity. So it would be like 2 to 3 hours of just really deep work, productive work. Then you'll probably have to switch off because you have to prepare lunch or help your children or whatever, do run chores, pick up the grab delivery. There will be many interruptions during the day, so you have to find those pockets of productivity.
Mhm. That's such a good tip. And sometimes, I'm sure all of us agree, sometimes rin, you need that break and then later on, biglang gising ka na ulit sa gabi when your kid is napping or something. Parang that's really very helpful. Pockets of productivity. This time, I would like to add to that, Miss Eileen, if that's okay. This question naman asks, how do you weigh and decide when to persuade or when to let go of the small battles? You mentioned this in your presentation. What are the things that you consider in the decision-making process?
Okay, so thank you for that, Macojin29. I think at the end of the day, I always ask myself, will this matter, at the end of it all? Will it affect the outcomes or will it just create, more problems? I think that's also one of the difference, I think, how women process things. Because if it's probably too petty, will it actually affect the outcomes? And that personally is how I look at things, and
Mhm.
that's my decision. That's how I do my decision making process. Will it affect the end result?
And for our the rest of the panel, feel free if you feel like you want to add to the answer. Feel free to share something from your experience as well, because we're all very excited to learn from one another. Okay, so this question naman is directed to Miss Roma, because Miss Roma mentioned that she had to DIY and pretty much learn on the job when it comes to building common room. So now that you have common room, what guided you all throughout running your business?
For me, Kaki, I think it's really important that you know why you're doing it. So thank you for that question pala, Nikki Brillantes. Yes, it's really important why you're doing it because it's going to be your fuel to move forward. Eh. If, like, for example, this pandemic, um, katulad nung kanina question regarding the small battle,
Mm.
closing our first shop was a major decision, right? It feels sentimental because it actually was the reason for all the other stores and all the growth of Common Room. It started with that home. But we need to let go because we knew that in the long run, um, it would be better for the community. So if you know why you're doing it,
Yeah.
the reasons why you ended up closing something or closing a chapter would be easier. So
Mm,
always be
mm,
guided with that why, with that vision. Kasi makakakuha ka rin dyan ng mga won't agree with your decisions. But if
yeah.
you are at peace with that because you know why you're doing it, then I guess this
Mhm.
very hard 2020 will be easier for you in a way.
So really, yeah. So it's really going back to the whys, right? And I remember again Miss Aya's presentation on. I'd also like to direct it naman to Miss Aya. Thank you for answering that, Miss Roma. Now, Miss Aya, this is from Aiza Marie Liansing. What she asks is, because you're in the business of showcasing Filipino talent, creativity. Now, how can we remain competitive in such an aggressive industry, or how does one stand out?
Thanks, Isa, for that question. There's the technical side of that, diba? We always try to, sabi nila, if you want to beat the best, you need to beat you. If you want to be the best, you need to compete with the best or challenge the best or something. So there's definitely a technical side to it. Like really look at what you can specialize on. But I think as Filipinos and Filipino creatives, the heart of our competitiveness is really understanding what the market needs. It's not about us, it's about them. If we can find out how we can help them, that will guide our decision making on, how to become competitive. Like, every woman here in this panel, they have a strong sense of mission. That's what made Canva grow. That's what made Kumu grow, diba? Now, how can we help and how can we support you? So I think that's it. Listen to the market. Really try to understand them.
Hmm. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much, Miss Aya. Now, I think this question is going to be perfect for Kumu. Now, this is this question asks, actually dalawa siya. First of all, how can we develop a deeper sense of connection to our local communities? And then, how can we create effective platforms? Well, I know Kumu already is an effective platform that provides opportunities such as safe space for people to connect, share resources, support businesses, and again, nurture local communities.
Oh wow, yes, absolutely. And thank you for that. Actually, to what Ayas already mentioned, it's definitely that sense of mission for others and not in the cliche or cheesy sense of it, but it's true. It's really listening in to what is needed at also the signs of times, right? Actually, just so for concrete examples, like one being that one is also it's like Filipino American month, so even from America, they reach back out to, oh, there's this cultural stage that we can do. So Kumu provided that platform as well for connecting Americans and Filipino Americans and those also here for that, and just making these performances alive even during pandemic in support of the local businesses, and actually through also the content creators themselves. They actually came up to Kumu and say, hey, can we support this business? Can we support this business? And empowering them with who knew that, like, your traditional home shopping now becoming even more interactive because you're facing the phone. So people are like, oh, can you try this? Or we were selling arugula. So that's arugula while singing, right? So it's kind of these fantastic content creators just pushing the brand, or yeah, local farmers. So lots of examples. But again, just to wrap it all up on that, it's again, how to be relevant and also be effective in it as a platform as well. For Kumu, the challenge that we faced was how to accommodate all these, right? I mean, we wish we could accommodate it and everything. So it was also prioritization of as a team in both the tech pipeline and also as a humans, like, you get you 24 hours in a day, but definitely prioritizing that into that mission together. So something that as a partnerships head, right, wearing my partnerships hat, it's more like meeting your goals together, so the business goals that you have effectively. But yeah, I hope I answered the questions.
Yes, you did. And actually, lahat ng yon, we also learned more about Kumu as a platform at the same time. So really,
just to add on that, because so as we have Facebook groups, the communities on Kumu have called themselves, in true Filipino fashion, families, clans, right, teams. So that's how we've also had the virtual groups flourish on the app. So I mean, I hope it will be more of a better service to show everyone, right? But yeah, so all these families thriving as well on Kumu, as we've seen.
And honestly, talagang you can see how much of the local and Filipino community is really highlighted on Kumu. A lot of the gifts are very, very Filipino. Namimigay ng halo-halo, nagkakaroon ng adarna,
Lechon.
right? Lechon. I mean, those things, that's why it's so addictive na nga almost, because it's like the joy by those simple things, that how they highlight being Filipino at this time really was such a nice touch. So congrats, good job.
Thank you.
Now this question naman is for Meisi. This is for Canva. They're asking, this user is asking, actually, Vincent Salazar, do designers have to be worried that Canva non-design users will compete with them in the design business?
Well, not at all. So thank you for your question, Vincent, but not at all. In fact, Canva opens up an appreciation for design and creativity in ways that have never existed before. So of course, we have great respect for designers and the craft of design. A lot of our content was influenced by the creative thinking of professional designers in general. We are just making it accessible because we are, of course, in working towards a mission of democratizing design for everyone. So I think there's a lot of room for everyone to be able to express their creativity through Canva.
So thank you for that, and thank you, Vincent. So ayan, I hope na if you're probably a designer, you can relax and trust that it will all be all good. So
I'll
this
also
one can
jump
be
in. Sorry,
yes,
I'll also
please,
jump in
please.
for that. Having come from the creative industry, I think
Yes.
we're not just hands. If you're a creative, people would get you for your services because you're thinking about how to solve a particular problem, or so it's not, Canva is for maybe for people like me. I'm not, I'm not naturally a Photoshop person, but Canva allows me to make a nice presentation. So yeah.
Same,
I
same.
agree with your
Agree.
presentation. It looked really nice. But just additionally, so to add to that, yes, that's right. We give the resources not just to non-designers, but also to designers. So having everything in one place makes it easier for you to be able to successfully do your job, making it easier to just think about the design and the concept and having all of the resources all in one place, diba? So I think it makes it easier for everybody, hopefully designers and non-designers alike.
Thank you for that. I'd like to throw this question to anyone, any of our dear ladies over here, and most especially to Miss I and Miss Eileen, because and I know Miss Roma mentioned already some of the personal strategies that she and the skill sets that she highlighted, and in fact was very important to highlight kasi nga she kept mentioning sabi nila hindi personal but really sometimes you have to be personal about it, so I enjoyed that presentation. And so related to that, what other strategies and skill sets do we need to shape or shape up to be able to help entrepreneurs navigate this better normal landscape?
Okay, I can start with that one. As an entrepreneur, one of the things that I learned during this pandemic is if you're coming from a good place, you know it's the right thing, change without guilt. Kasi the guilt will hold you back. But if you know that you're doing the right thing, it may be tough, but that's why we're here. This is what we've been preparing for. So make changes, make decisions, come from a good place, and get rid of guilt.
Ugh. Okay, that hit me hard. Thank you for that. Okay, get rid of the guilt. Thank you for that, Miss Aya. Miss Eileen, do you have anything to add? Strategy, skill sets for our entrepreneurs.
So I'll share two things. The first one probably is to go back to why you've started in the first place. And I think every person who has embarked on an entrepreneurial journey has to go back to why they started that business in the first place. Because hindi ka tatagal kung hindi mo gusto yung ginagawa mo. So if you get thrown a lot of, crap, sorry, can I say that on air?
Sure.
If you experience a lot of challenges, you're not going to last very long. So that's the first. Always go back to why you've started. The second one is about, being able to be open to opportunities. So I remember listening to Kevin Hart's audiobook a long time. And when he was starting out as a stand-up comic, he never said no to anything. Even like, your hole in the wall gig, he would do it because every chance he gets on stage is an opportunity to practice. So whether it's small or big, it's your chance to hone your skills. So never say no to an opportunity that comes your way.
Hmm. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Miss Eileen. Now, this is again for anyone. Feel free to answer this question because this is all about new customer perceptions. Okay, the question is how can we create new customer perceptions about businesses as digital savvy and forward looking? Okay, so how can we create new customer perceptions about businesses as digital savvy and forward looking? Would I would like to ask this, Miss Roma, do you think common room does it fit this mold? Digital savvy, forward looking, ganyan.
Mm-mm. So we are a retail space. So our specialty is really physical products and having the customers visit our stores and really touch on the creations of our makers. So the fact that we had to close all our homes during the lockdown, talagang parang na-knock off talaga kami. It highlighted the weakness of the business model, that it was so reliant on our physical stores that come pandemic time, we were nothing without our space. But I think what's important is also realizing that the space is not the core of the concept. The core of the concept was the community, and the community is still here, and they are all mobile. So we just really need to communicate to our followers, to our community, that Common Room is here, and we are still showcasing our local makers, but now on a different platform because we want you to get to know them safely. So I think it's really important that you communicate the transition because of course they will be just as shocked as you because you're not the only one pivoting. Somehow the customers are trying to pivot and understand you also, like, bakit bigla kayo nagka-YouTube channel, etc. Why did this and stuff. So parang you really need to communicate why you're doing it, and if they understand that your mission is to showcase the artist, then they would really understand why the YouTube, for example, the YouTube channel
Mm-mm.
became a good transition
Ah,
for the community.
I love it. And you know what? Miss Aya rin nag-comment in our little chat box rin na parang bullseye. As in, I agree. People wouldn't think na, paano kaya to? But, we can. And you're one of the examples na kayang-kaya tong gawin. And we can move things on the digital platform. Oh, speaking of that platform, now I want to ask the same question naman to Miss Meisi. Um,
Yeah.
uh, yes.
Yeah, so like your question was about changing customer perception, about like moving businesses digital. So around
Yes.
the like parang as a business owner, I would think that it's very important to invest in your digital presence as well as your physical presence. But there are some limitations, especially in these changing times, about how to actually effectively do that. And I 100% agree with Roma about communication being the central point here. It's important to make sure that you communicate and show your customers and your audience, and through this constant communication, and of course through effective communication and clarity, you might be able to like convey the importance of, or parang the reason behind why these changes happened for your business. And I guess medyo inclined towards design, because design is an important way of like communicating and messaging in general. And of course, being able to successfully convey a message isn't just about like being able to articulate it well. When you speak with your clients face to face, their digital presence and digital content is ever more important than ever, especially now when there aren't really a lot of opportunities to reach out to your audiences and your clients the same way that you used to when you had like a brick and mortar, like
Yeah.
physical storefront, etc. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that, Macy. Now, this one, I love this question because it's really for all of us here, because this is about defining a feminine economy. All of us can answer. I'd like to throw it first to Miss Eileen because I of her things that she learned about being a mother. So parang this is such a good segue for that. How do women take part and have an advantage in bettering the PH economy?
It's a tough question to ask. I don't know if I'm qualified to answer it, but I think, you know, and this is coming from my observation from having been a strategist and observing consumer behavior for the longest time. We tend to be very, you know, as Filipino women kasi, we tend to put others' needs ahead of ours. And I think that's, whether you're a mom, your sister, whatever, a friend, inuuna mo yung iba over yours. And I think, now that we're seeing more female entrepreneurs, it doesn't mean that just because you wanted the business, everything else will fall on the wayside. I think it's time to, embrace that. We're smart, we're creative, we can actually multitask better than a lot of people because of all our responsibilities. And I think it's embracing that we can. It's not always about, when we don't prioritize others doesn't mean we're bad parents, a bad mother or whatnot. So I think that's, we just need to participate and not always
Mm.
be in the shadows.
Mhm. I'd like to also add to that, Miss Eileen, and also this. I am reminded of what Miss Aya said earlier, and also Miss Rama mentioned earlier, because naturally nga as women, we grew up taking so many roles. So parang it's already second nature for us. No, actually, hindi second nature, or our nature, to be, how can we help? And so, especially at the time right now, that becomes the thing that drives us most of the time. How can we help? How can we help? And sometimes it could really take out our energy, zap out our energy, especially during this time. But that's why I think it's so important for women now in terms of making major decisions in the economy and their businesses, because we have that natural inclination to think of everyone, that if merong hindi umaangat, we want to make sure that we're all rising and doing well all together. So feeling ko that's really very important for this time. Do we have anything to add for that one? Miss Aya, Miss Roma,
Yeah,
Michiko?
I wanted to add to that because something that, I've learned and continue to learn is to not deny yourself of your women qualities. If you want to be compassionate in the office, please go ahead and do that, right? If you can discipline and be compassionate at the same time. We don't have to be males about it, or, so we have our
Yeah.
own way. So just more of learning that as well.
Agree. And so I know there's still so much more to learn and to learn from each other, and we are in the spirit of hyper collaborating, and so I'm really excited with what we can all learn from each other, and what I am just very, very thankful that you have shared so much, and our viewers have learned a lot from what they have seen this afternoon. So, anything that you have to that you want to share to our viewers, anything that you would like to plug for your business or invite them to learn more about your businesses, we can start with Meisi. If you want to share anything for our viewers.
Yes, of course. So, Canva is in the business of empowering the world to design, and that means being making available the resources that you can to like start your businesses, or, for example, create like your amazing content on social media. We have tips and tricks that we share regularly through our social media channels, and we are inviting you to check them out. So if you are a freelancer, if you're starting your business, if you are an educator in the Philippines and would like really amazing content to share in your classrooms or to your potential stakeholders and investors, things like that. Parang, or even just your social media following, things that you want to express, whether you're trying out a new platform like Kumu or starting out a new business and thinking of packaging for Common Room, for example. These are things that you can create using Canva, and hopefully, like, you know what I really love about this lineup? I think that you found like different ways of like expressing creativity, being able to collaborate with like different people, and now you have the resource and tool that you can actually use to get all of that done. Diba? So hopefully, you guys check it out.
Okay, maybe I'll go next. I think Kaki's internet is
Kaki,
a bit.
go.
I'm just minding. Nothing specific naman for me. I just wanna challenge all.
Thank you very much, Macy of Canva. And so we would like to also invite Miss Aya del Rosario Gus to invite people, and also if you want to get in touch with her.
Great. Oh, thank you, Kaki. Nothing in particular about our business, but I just want to challenge like all the women there, especially the moms out there during these trying times, because I think of our being women, we just have a much deeper well. I think we can be the example to encourage people and show them what is possible. What I do whenever I'm having like a difficult moment, like kakayanin ko ba talaga yan? I just imagine my my children, Aliyah and Kat. I imagine them as babies, and then I put them on the other side of a mountain, and I imagine a little bridge, and I think to myself, kahit na tinik pa yan or fire or shards of glass, I will cross that bridge. We have nothing is impossible for us if we find a big enough purpose. And I think we can be the example of that so people around us can be more resilient. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Miss Aya. Miss Eileen?
Okay, so I'll go very fast. So I wore two hats in this presentation. So the first one is for Payoneer, which is a cross-border payments platform that empower entrepreneurs anywhere in the world to pay and get paid. So if you're an aspiring freelancer who have clients outside the country, you can use Payoneer. And we've recently partnered with Gcash, so you can actually cash in now. So we're making it easier for people. So check it out if you're a freelancer or a service provider or even an e-commerce seller that sell outside. The second one is support Filipino-made podcasts. So this is for Podcast Network Asia. We've grown to more than 70 shows, and please check us out. Every episode that you listen to is improving, our stand as content creators in this global economy. So thank you. So I'm plugging now na.
Definitely. I can't wait. I'm going to be listening and searching all of the podcasts. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Eileen. Miss Michiko?
Thank you. Yes, and thank you again for having us for Kumu. And for us, though I said something about prioritization, for us, we actually partner with anyone who has the same vision as us to empower the Filipino creator. So please do hit us up and let's reach our goals together. Actually, on that note, we're partnering pretty soon, but just wanted to say something about that as well, since we actually our content creators use Canva a lot. So just that's another step to your 101. It's easy to do and easy to use. So design your cover photos on Kumu with Canva.
I love that hyper collaboration.
Hyper collaboration also. So Roma, if you want to have, common room on Shop Kumu, this is a home for it. P&A is already on Kumu as well.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
And now, Miss Roma.
Okay, so again, Design Center of the Philippines, thank you so much for having us. I think for me, for my ending message, I just want to highlight the power that you have. I know a lot of people are feeling powerless right now. How can they help, etc. But know that every purchase that you make actually has power. So there's power in your purchase. Saan mo nilalagay yung money mo? Who are you supporting? Limited resources na yan di ba? So sa bawat paggamit mo ng money na yon and kung saan mo siya nilalagay is really very important. I hope you continue to shop local, support local, lalo na yung mga creatives natin. Our creatives are self-employed. So they're not just employees who somehow had pay cuts. The fact that they lost their projects, they lost their gigs, talagang self-employed sila. Ibig sabihin, without these projects, wala talaga silang security blanket. So I hope you can continue to support local talent. And for our local makers, I just want to end this one with a message to hold on and that you still have a lot going for you. Nagsimula tayo na walang-wala before, right? When you were starting your own brand, when you were starting your own business, zero din tayo nun. We didn't have anything. We were really just DIYing everything, faking it till we make it, right? So the fact that we are already in this stage, and even if kinuha na ng 2020 lahat, you still have your experiences before and hindi yun nawawala and you can use those tools. So you're not back to zero. You're actually in the middle already, and how you can use your lessons before, you can still use it today. So I hope hindi kayo mawala ng pag-asa.
Thank you for that very hopeful message. And again, it has been a real pleasure chatting with everyone, learning from you. It has been truly inspiring and enriching. So to all of you wonderful women, I'd like to give you a round of applause. You guys have all been amazing. And I really hope that we can all meet sometime outside this virtual space after this pandemic. And I wish you all to be safe, to be healthy, and to be happy. Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Whew, wow, I am sure you guys enjoyed that the very first of our design talk. So muli, maraming salamat. I hope you guys are more empowered than ever to create, to collaborate, and to innovate. So don't forget to answer our feedback form. We want to hear from you. And if you loved our session this afternoon, do you want more sessions like this? What did you like the best? Let us know. And so that is just the tip of the iceberg, ladies and gents. We have a whole week packed with workshops and master classes for you. And I think registration is still open for some of these. So head over to Design Center's social media pages if you'd like to know more. That is DTI, Design Center of the Philippines. So before I say goodbye, I would like to say thank you once again to our partners. Thank you to the Department of Trade and Industry, our collaborators, Pineapple Lab and Fringe Manila, our media partner, Adobo Magazine, British Council, Life After Breakfast PH, and Crazy About Paper. We would not have launched the very first Design Week PH without you. So thank you very much for collaborating with us, and thank you for supporting us. So again, if you liked our design talks, don't forget to like this live and share your experience with the hashtag Design Week PH and also hashtag Design Week PH 2020. But this is our main hashtag, okay? Hashtag Design Week PH. So thank you once again to our beautiful ladies, our amazing women. Thank you for joining us for this afternoon. And once again, have a great Design Week ahead. I am Kaki Teodoro. Good evening.